Okay. All right. And we're here, folks. It's Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. We come to you Monday, Wednesdays, and now Friday. Talk to you about the people, places, trends, events that shape the city of Las Vegas. And when you think of living in Vegas, folks, think living local and the return of cool. Welcome once again, folks. It's a Friday. And let me turn on our Facebook page because then I can see if we're actually even on. This is a really weird week, and we've got some special announcements for you that will probably take effect next week. I want to warn everybody really early right now that probably things are going to change starting next week if certain circumstances work out, that kind of stuff. So we just want to I'll give you a little more detail here in just a minute. But and for those of you who are listening to us on our podcast, it won't affect you at all. Okay, but some things just change. They change all the time. Anyways, for those of you, this might be your first time watching the show. I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine. And I know some of you are very excited because our website is back up again. I got a hold of our webmasters, our hosting company, and was able to resolve that problem. So you can still go to the website and you can check out our some of the articles that we don't get to here on the podcast. So we talk about a lot of things on the podcast, but we don't get through everything. Of course, I got a list of stuff, and because I talk so much, we don't get to all of it. So definitely go on our website. You can check that out. Also, if you're on our mailing list, definitely get on our mailing list. Send us your contact information to info@livininvegas.com. That's info@livininvegas.com, and we will get you on our mailing list, and we'll send you a bunch of stuff, okay, and keep you up to date. As always, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and of course on our website at livininvegas.com. You can check out the videos and stuff like that. Anyways, so it is the first, for us, it's our first show in December. So pretty cool. We've made an entire year, folks. I mean, an entire year of shows. And couldn't have been done without you. Very excited about that. For those of you who are wondering why the mustache is so prevalent now, we started growing it the beginning of November for Movember, which is Men's Health Month. And I think I'm just going to let it go. I'm just going to let it grow. It'll get down about right here. So you watch, folks, in about another couple of months, it's going to be really long. You won't be able to see my neckline, that kind of stuff. It'll just be a big bush. And why fight it, right? Just why fight it? It's getting really long, and so I'm going to let it go. Maybe I'll color it. What do you think? Maybe color it. Instead of it being that grayish, I'm going to color it, and it'll look really cool. I want to welcome all of our friends that are watching us on Facebook. If you got a shout out, don't hesitate. Just say, hey, Sherman, it's good to see you, brother. And would love to say hello to you also. Also, we've got some birthdays that are happening. And one of the birthdays was my nephew, Renzel. And I've not seen Rennie. I've not seen him in a little while. And I want to say a shout out to him. Hey, Renzel, what's up? What's up? And I want to wish him a happy birthday. And also, we've got a baby coming to our family. Yeah, we do. And I think right now that she's in labor right now. So a new addition to the household is coming. It's not my wife. My kids are all grown. I got grandkids, folks, but we've got a great-grandchild that is going to be brought into the world, and so we're very excited about that also. Anyways, let's do this. Let's take a real quick break. I mean, it's going to be a real quick break, folks. We'll be back in just a second, folks, and we'll sell some products here, and then we'll be back and we'll talk about some of the crazy news that's going on in the Valley. This is Sherman Ray, this Livin in Vegas podcast. We'll be right back in a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right. We're back, folks. This is Sherman Ray, this is Livin in Vegas podcast. Once again, we talk about all the interesting things that happen in Vegas that shape the city. And this first story is one of those. I'll tell you, this is probably, I don't know, should we even do this story? Yeah, we're going to do it. So the story is all about something that's going on. Which one should we do? Okay, let's talk about this one. So this was a story about a former Marine. He threatened to detonate some explosives on the Las Vegas Strip. And this was not, I know, usually we talk about real fun things, but we're not, this is not fun. Former U.S. Marine threatened a mass attack on the Las Vegas Strip, prompting large police response. With investigators found weapons, military-style explosives in his apartment. And this was not cool. This guy's name is Jeremy Schumacher. He's 41 years old. And he faces a charge of making a false threat regarding an act of terrorism, according to court reports. He's been held on $1 million bail. Yeah, no, this guy's not getting out. Judge Alana Lee Graham ordered that Schumacher be held $1 million bail. This happened, so as it goes back, Monday, November 28th, a person called police saying that this Schumacher guy had made these threats. And he was over at the Fashion Show Mall on the Strip, police said, and they said that they rousted this guy and they took him away. And so we'll leave a link to this story on our website at livininvegas.com, and you can check this out. This is pretty scary that these guys are just nuts, man. And that's not all, folks. I mean, let's get the bad stuff out of the way. So we're going to do that. We'll get all the bad stuff out of the way, and then we'll go to some of the nicer stories. Because here's another one. This guy, he was found, I think it was last year. His name is, what's his name? I had his name here. Eric John Holland. Eric John Holland. I'll say that again. He's a 58-year-old man sentenced to 18 to 45 years in prison for killing and dismembering a man whose severed head was found in his stolen vehicle, in this guy Holland's vehicle. Ex-convict, as he was driving about a mile a year ago in Las Vegas. So about a year ago, this nut job, and I don't want to show his picture. He's just a nut. And the guy said, "Well, I'm sorry. I'm truly remorseful that I did this." And the guy who he killed, he shot the guy. It was his friend. I would hate to see what the guy if he didn't like the guy. The guy's name was Richard P. Miller, whose remains were found in coolers in the bed of this guy's truck. Man, the guy stole the truck too. So somebody was out of truck, out of cooler, killed a guy's friend. Okay, that's enough of those stories. It's just bad. Let's move on to a even worse story. I know. I would love to do all the good stories. I really would, folks. But some of these stories, you just have to, because they shape Vegas. They really do. There's many of you remember the Boulevard Mall. And Boulevard Mall over there off of Eastern and Desert Inn, between Desert Inn and, what would it be? What's the other street? It's not quite up to Flamingo. Twain. Okay, Twain. Okay, so Desert Inn, Twain. I know the city, folks. I've lived here forever. So Boulevard Mall, and for those of you who remember the Boulevard Mall as kids, do you remember it? Come on, just say hello. Boulevard Mall has gone through a lot of changes over the years. I remember when I first was acquainted with the Boulevard Mall, I worked there at Sears many, many, many years ago. And that was the place to go. Before the Meadows Mall was built, before all of these fashion show, all these other malls were built, it was the Boulevard Mall. That was it. And it was just outside of a Jewish set of town and the Italian portion of town where Valley High School's at, that kind of stuff. So it's over near Sunrise Hospital, that area. Well, it's gone through a lot of changes, and it was going into such disrepair over the last, couple of decades company bought it and decided that they were going to renovate the thing and put some serious money into it. Well, unfortunately, what has happened is that now there's a story that we were just talking about or just reading about, and the title of the article is Mismanagement, Shoddy Security, Racial Inequality Alleged at Boulevard Mall. I know. So, as you know, the city of Las Vegas has changed demographically. And we have a huge Hispanic population here now. I mean, way more than it was even when I was growing up. And all my friends were Hispanic guys. I mean, so I was raised on, jalapenos and all kinds of fritos and all that kind of stuff. I was raised on that stuff. So I got no problem with Hispanic folks at all. But the demographic of Las Vegas has become so much more Hispanic that the management over at the Boulevard Mall, that is their main customer that they're after. This is what the owner of the Boulevard Mall said. So I'm not going to read the entire article. We'll actually link this article on our website. It was by Darcy Spears. Notice, usually Darcy Spears, who works for Channel 13, generally does stories about bad food, dirty dining, that kind of stuff. Well, she focused in on the Boulevard Mall this time. And evidently, the Boulevard Mall, they got authorities got called on the Boulevard Mall. And as the story goes, and like I said, I'm not going to read the whole thing, and we won't even go through the whole thing. But evidently, there were some shenanigans going on at the Boulevard Mall. And what we mean by shenanigans is that knockoffs these are alleged knockoffs were being sold there. People selling things that they probably shouldn't have been selling, misrepresenting themselves as, like, say, pharmacies when they were not actually pharmacists. And the whistleblower in this case basically said, hey, that they were kicked out of the mall because they brought attention to these bad shops that were in the Boulevard Mall. Now, according to the article, the people that are there, the foot traffic is so low there that they got to do whatever they got to do to survive, that kind of stuff. But that this whistleblower alleges that there's a lot of just bad things going on there. And it's not just, hey, like Darcy Spears would normally do, bad food. It's people misrepresenting themselves, selling knockoffs, that kind of stuff. And sorry, that's what happens when you have live TV. So you've got to read. This is a very long article. I mean, it's just a really long article, but it goes into detail about how the management of the Boulevard Mall is basically saying, look, we are here for money, and our customer base is Hispanic, and we can basically sell them anything. That's what I got out of it. So I hate to put it that way, but then if you've been over to the Boulevard Mall, folks, and you've seen some of the shenanigans over there, or you've seen something, let us know about it, because the place has changed completely. It used to be the high-end place in town to be. And, of course, over the years, things have changed. It's just changed dramatically. And so now the high-end shops are not so much anymore. And so it's become more of a neighborhood-type mall. Doesn't mean it can't be a good mall. It's just not the same as it was. It's not the fashion show mall. Okay, it's just not that. And so that's kind of what we got out of that story. Anyways, for those of you, this might be the first time you're watching the show. I'm Sherman Ray. I'm the publisher of Livin in Vegas magazine. And we've been printing Livin in Vegas magazine for about a year now. And the last quarter, we kind of missed it because I just got busy. I just got a lot of speaking engagements and a lot of things that I had to tend to. And so what we're going to end up doing here, folks, and I want to make this announcement, or let's do this. I'm going to make an announcement after this next break about what is going to go forward with the podcast and how it likely will affect the podcast, okay? So, and how we broadcast. So, we'll be back in just a second, folks, with a little bit more. Once again, stick around. We've got an announcement to make about the podcast. You're going to want to hear this. This is Sherman Ray, the Livin in Vegas podcast. We'll be back in a second. Hi, everybody. It's Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast. Are you a business owner that's looking to get the word out about his product, service, or even just a great message out there? Well, we'd like to give you that opportunity by being a guest on Livin in Vegas podcast. It's super simple. All you've got to do is contact us at advertising@livininvegas.com. That's advertising@livininvegas.com, and we'll schedule you for an interview on Livin in Vegas podcast. I'm Sherman Ray for Livin in Vegas podcast, where we talk about the people, the places, the trends, and the events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye. All right, and we are back, folks. This is Sherman Ray, and this is the Livin in Vegas podcast. Did you guys notice in that piece, the little commercial there, how I had a baby face? I mean, I had no mustache, and now look at me. I'm just an old. I know, and it's going to get longer, folks. It's just going to get longer and longer and longer, and you're just going to say, "Oh my gosh!" I want to welcome you back to the show. We were saying in the last segment that we've got an announcement we're going to make about the show. Well, as you would surmise, we have to pay for the show, and my schedule is going to change because I'm going to be doing things during the day. I would normally produce the show at about 8 o'clock, 8:30 in the morning. And so I won't be able to do that. So we actually might start earlier, which probably won't happen. But what we will do is we will probably produce the show in the evenings. Okay. So you might be able to see the podcast live in the evenings. For those of you folks who are watching on YouTube, it won't affect you at all because we send a tape to YouTube, so it won't affect you at all. And if you're listening on our podcast, it won't affect you at all. But if you're watching us live, the live taping of the show will probably be at a different time. And it will I'll find out probably today what that will be, so I won't be able to tell you about it. I wanted to let you know this early, okay? So that's what the big story is, okay? Yes, we will continue to do the podcast because that's what we do. And that's just kind of what we do. But it'll just be taped live at a different time. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, I hope you're digging that. Okay. I think. Oh gosh, I think I got a grandbaby. I think I got a great grandbaby. Yes, my daughter just sent me. I'm going to look right now, folks. I'm sorry. You're going to have to bear with me just a second. You'll be the first. Oh, yep, there it is. That's my new grandbaby, folks. My daughter, of course, had to stick her face in there too, right? So, grandbaby's here. Look, I can see fingers and toes. So you were the first people to hear it. You even heard it before my wife did. Or maybe not. Yeah. So I would show you the picture, but, she has no clothes on. So I won't do that. You just don't want to do that. Okay. So anyways, you can congratulate me. Smoke a cigar. I am now officially a great grandfather. I'm so young. I really am a very young guy. I'm really young, folks. So congratulations to my grandson for having his first child, which is great. And everybody's sending me notes now. It just my phone is like buzzing. You can't hear it, but it's just buzzing. Let's get back to the show because we're here to do a show, folks. So we want to make sure we get that back. But congratulate me anyways. So inflation. Let's talk about inflation, how it's affecting Las Vegas. UNLV research team has basically come up with some algorithms to talk about how inflation has really affected us. And as you can imagine, when rates are high, people are spending less money, they actually have to make decisions on what it's going to do and what they're going to do with that money. So researchers utilize a metrics called the Clark County Tourism Index. Who knew there was such a thing? To measuring visitors, Clark County gross gaming revenue, Las Vegas hotel motel occupancy rate, and other things, especially with people going in and out of Harry Reid International Airport. And especially after the post-lockdown surge and recovery, Las Vegas has several months of decline. Okay, interest rates have gone up, as we were saying. And so they were saying that through Harry Reid International Airport, that visitor numbers over 5 million people for October alone. The report takes into account what it called seasonally adjusted numbers. So we are actually seeing a decrease in number of visitors. Okay, wow. So the Nevada Gaming Board said that we reported 20 straight months of $1 billion revenue. Wow, that's a lot of money. But that our numbers are down, though. Our numbers are down. The recession has actually hit us. And as many of you know, what's going to happen probably what's going to happen with your homes, the price of your homes, which went, like in January, it went through the roof. It just went through the roof, the amount of money that our homes were worth. You're going to find that, especially next year, those numbers, if they've not already hit that plateau, they're going to hit that plateau and they're going to decline. So, which is tough because with inflation at the height that it is right now, one, it's hard for people to even qualify for a loan. And who's going to take out a loan at 6%, 8%? They're just not going to do it. But the price of the home is still up high. Inflation is up very high. It's almost virtually impossible for anybody to buy a home now. So we're hoping that numbers change a little bit in the short term, and in the long term that those numbers come down. Because if not, next year is going to be tough in Vegas. So just get used to it. What else? Oh, okay. There was a story. How much time do we have? Okay, we got a little bit of time. Native Americans in Southern Nevada celebrate milestones in the community. And so there's actually, many of you know that during November, it was Native American Heritage Month. And so they celebrated the contributions of Native Americans, especially here in Southern Nevada, where we've got a lot of people of Native American heritage here. They had food, vendors, they had celebrations, all that kind of stuff. And so I'm going to leave a link to this on our website because I think this is a really cool story about the people who were, we call them Nations First people or the First Nations people, that kind of stuff. Because really nobody's indigenous to America. There's really no Native Americans. Everybody migrated here somehow. But the first people that we recognize as the first people here in America of any consequence, or we can trace their heritage back, were people of Indian descent. Okay, so we call them Native Americans. So they've got a storied past, a long history here, and we want to recognize that. We really do. We've got petroglyphs all over the mountains here. They definitely have made their mark. And so we want to recognize that. So we'll leave a link to that story. There was a story that we alluded to earlier. Excuse me. I'm going to sneeze here, so I'm gonna here. Hang on. Oh wow. Okay. So you didn't hear that on the podcast, but you probably saw it. Just a minute there. Sorry. I've had this. It was really windy last night, so we've got a lot of weird stuff going on. Harry Reid Airport had a record-breaking month, and I didn't get to read this whole story because this. So in October, they show that the higher prices of tickets and, of course, the scheduling did not stop travelers in October. So Harry Reid International Airport set an all-time record for arriving and departing passengers. Very cool. So on Thursday, they said they had 5.7 million people came and went through the airport in October, breaking the old mark. 4.86 million travelers last year in July. Oh, no, excuse me, of this July. So very congratulations to them over there. What is this? Oh, so how many of you are watching the FIFA? So USA won. They got out of the breakout round a couple of days ago, which was really cool. I got to watch that game. But Saturday, they're actually going to be in the Sweet 16, which will be great. So they actually had a pageant there, and it was a camel pageant. I know, isn't that cute? So people are going, oh, they're just so cute. So we actually do have camels here, folks, in Las Vegas. So you can actually check those out. We actually should find out exactly where they're at, and we'll leave a link to that so you can actually find out where it is at. So they actually have a kind of a Westminster, like they have the Westminster dog. My wife's sending me notes here. The Westminster Dog Show for dogs. They actually have the same thing for camels in Qatar, and so it should be cool. So 15 camels competed for the crown. This is cute. Okay, we'll go on to something else. We want to talk about some more local stuff here, folks. So let's talk about UNLV. My favorite. Let me break out the old bracelet. Got it right there. I know. Let's do the rest of the show like this. So UNLV's men's and women's swimming teams combined for 10 top 32 finishes as they competed Thursday at the finals of the second day of the Minnesota Invitational at Freeman Aquatics Center. Very cool. So we're excited for the swim team. You guys do know that our men's basketball team is just doing fantastic. And of course, as we reported earlier during the week, we said goodbye to our men's football coach, Mr. Arroyo, and he's gone. Yes, he did win back to Fremont Cannon. As many of you watched the game, I know you did, as I did. And we watched the Fremont Cannon being won by the Running Rebels football team. But with a dismal record, just a terrible record, they had to let go of the football coach. And the of athletic director, probably feeling the pressure of boosters, regents, alum, everybody's saying, look, everybody's doing well except for you guys. You better get your stuff together. Now, here's the thing about it, and this was we weren't going to talk about this, but we're going to do it in our last minute. Many people are now wondering why Randall Cunningham of Philadelphia Eagles fame, quarterback, UNLV alum, is not being tapped to become the football coach, the head coach for the Rebels. Okay. And so there's probably a reason for it, but there's rumblings that are talking about that, and they're saying, hey, look, you need to give Randall a shot at it. Will they? I don't know. Maybe they will, maybe they won't. But you heard it here first, folks, that there are rumblings, and maybe won't. We do have 1 minute left. Do we want to go on the rest of these stories? No, we cannot do it. Okay. We will say this, that this weekend the Raiders are playing, and folks, get ready for it. It should be a great game. Or do they have bye week this week? Got to make sure. Here, because I'm sorry. Let's see. I hate to say they have a game. I thought they had a bye already. Our schedule for 2022. So Sunday, they're playing against the let me make sure, folks. Nope, we got to buy. Yeah, we got to buy. So we got to buy this week. Okay. All right. So I wonder. Oh no, excuse me. Denver, Seattle, and we're back against to the Chargers. Okay, so we are playing the Chargers this week. I'm sorry, and we're going to be playing Allegiant Stadium. Okay, so it's this week. Okay, I got to keep up with this stuff. I'm sorry. There's so much going on in Vegas. There's just tons of stuff here. Anyways, folks, once again, I will let you know about our new schedule that's going to be coming up for the show probably this afternoon, and let you know what time the live taping of the show is going. Once again, congratulations to moi for becoming a new great grandpa, and it's pretty cool. Anyways, we'll see you again Monday for more of the Livin in Vegas podcast from Sherman Ray, where we'll talk about the people, the places, the trends, and events that shape the city of Las Vegas. We love you, folks. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.